Hello again, guys. I'm back with some more facts. Today is October 6th, 2017. I got a kind of like an update for you guys on the Betty and Barney Hill story. Now, of course, you guys heard my opinion before because, of course, I mentioned it to you guys how I believe there's certain red flags in this story. Now, what I want to talk about is that I recently saw an interview where Betty's niece, okay, she goes on in an interview and says that neither Barney nor Betty, her aunt, right, didn't believe in UFOs and aliens and all that stuff until, of course, that happened to them. Now, that kind of rose suspicion to me because for her to make that claim, I think that she was wrong for that claim or that comment rather, because Betty believed in aliens and UFOs and stuff like that. And the reason that I believe that's the case is because when Barney was under hypnosis by, of course, the Dr. Benjamin Simon, you hear Barney basically saying that he was upset because his wife was trying to make him believe that what they were looking at in the sky was a flying saucer. So he said it that way. He said flying saucer. So, and then he also referred to saying that she believes in that, not him. So right there, you can clearly see that, he knew that his wife was a believer in aliens and UFOs and stuff like that, not him. He was not into that. Well, so that's what, what's out there is that he didn't believe in none of that. Well, I guess you guys are going to have to decide again from this story because I've already gave my opinions. I believe there's a couple red flags in the story, although it does seem legit. There's some, like when you think about, okay, when they're under hypnosis, again, you can only find the sessions of Barney, but you only find one session. You don't find the multiple sessions that took place. And of course, you don't find any from Betty. Certain people can obviously get their hands on it. But what I'm talking about is that the doctor, Benjamin Simon, he had a long session with these two that lasted several months. We're talking about January of 1964 to like June of 1964. So that's telling you he took basically 6 months examining these two, right? In separate rooms, just so, to make sure that they're not playing around with people and stuff like that. So, yes, he remained skeptic after the fact. And I did decide to look into some old newspapers. You guys yourselves can look it up at www.newspapers.com. And just all you got to do is type in their name, Betty and Barney Hill. And then you can find the old newspapers and you'll see certain things. Well, on those newspapers that I saw was already after the fact, all right? Now we're talking about after the 1960s. We see that the Dr. Benjamin Simon says that those stories that they brought forth is untrue. Because he believed that must have been Betty's dream that she had, and she passed it on to her husband. And so they created a story, basically. And so he believed it, as she believed it. You guys can decide what you want to believe on this story. But, if you do pay attention to certain things, you can see that Barney, for one, you can see that he's confused a little bit while under hypnosis. He's confused. You see at one point he's talking about he brought out the dog from the car. And then before the session was ended, he said something about the dog was in the car. The dog never want to come out the car. So it's kind of confusing because which one is it? Either the dog came out with you or the dog did not come out with you. You see what I mean, guys? And the dog's name is Delcy. Now, there were some instances where they both referred to the one of them as the leader, but Barney describes him as one with a black shiny jacket and with a scarf, a black scarf. But then Betty does not detail him in that manner. She doesn't mention that he has all that, you know. She does say that they referred to him as the leader and that she had the opportunity to communicate with him because he was the only one that spoke English. Again, I'm kind of confused because, not confused, it's just that, when she mentioned something about she was able to have a conversation with him saying that, I know you're not from this planet. I mean, come on. She didn't bother to ask him whether he was the leader of that whole group or what his name, at least. I mean, because at first you're describing, like they just got abducted. And then all of a sudden, if almost like she felt comfortable around the leader guy, and she was able to communicate with him for a couple minutes, is what she said. So that means that she had the opportunity to, again, like ask certain questions whether he was the leader or not. And then towards the end, I think she mentioned something about bringing back a book or something, so that people can believe, she could take something back as proof that the incident that they had was real. So then they gave her a book, she said, the leader gave her a book. But then all of a sudden he took it back because I guess the other group didn't agree with it. So then he took her to a map. And I guess she memorized the map and all of a sudden she drew it. So, I mean, I don't know. It's just, some of it seems believable. You can't rule anything out. But again, guys, like I said, it's just some things didn't add up for me. Or you see how Barney, at one moment he was saying something about a pancake. He was referring to a ship, a starship, as a pancake. I mean, we're talking about a guy who, of course, he was not, he was very intelligent. So he was able to determine what is a plane or helicopter or whatever that's on the sky. He can see clearly what it was. At first he said a satellite. And then, of course, he mentions that he was a little upset because Betty kept trying to make him believe that what they were looking at was a flying saucer. That's what he said. By saying that, he confirmed that Betty was a believer at that time in flying saucers and aliens. Okay, so as I looked further into the story, I realized that once again, I mean, he makes a different description of the guy they call the leader. And I don't know. And then from there, they went he said that they happened to be on the road and that he thought they were being robbed. Then, I don't know, like, something tells me somewhat, and I could be wrong, and I apologize if I am wrong, people, but it made me believe somewhat that Barney could have been lying, or pretending to be hypnotized. Because remember, while you're under hypnosis, you kind of are conscious of what you're doing, and I'm not saying that the doctor didn't realize something's happening, like trying to figure out whether he was really hypnotized or not hypnotized. And of course, the doctor was known for, working with people medically, of course, medical hypnosis. So it's not like saying that he was a fake doctor or anything like that. No, he was real. He was a real doctor that was able to, he used medical hypnosis to help people with pain and other stuff. And so again, he's the one that tried these two separate never in the same room. From January of 1964 to June of 1964. So you see, guys, there you can see that there was a lot of months, and still to this very day he, not now, but I'm saying that the doctor mentions that he didn't believe in their story at all, even after he was done with their sessions. Like I'm saying, he didn't agree with them at all. He actually believed that they were lying, that somehow Barney happened to be experiencing his wife's dream that she had of being abducted. So that's pretty much what he's saying. I mean, when you do hear the hypnosis, the session with Barney, I mean, I don't know if it's that easy to fake, you know, screaming the way he did, because he was screaming, as you guys probably heard. He's basically screaming, especially when he was saying he got to get away, or he had to go get his gun in the back, in the trunk of the car, because that's where he put the gun. And I don't know. This story could be real or not, guys. You guys can decide for yourselves on that one. I'm sorry if I sound like a broken record, but I just think that this story kind of doesn't really add up to some degrees. I mean, yes, I know that they examined Betty's dress, which of course came back that whatever that pink stuff was on her dress could not be identified. But they were able to identify other minerals and stuff like that, bacteria, because it's from the earth. Other than that, they couldn't identify anything else. Once again, I mean, what I believe kinda happened to them was an Earth ship, flying saucer from Earth, and because of course, I mean, you got Barney talking about Nazis, German Nazis. Then he says something about one of them reminding him of a red-headed Irishman. I mean, I don't understand why he would say that. You know what I mean? So, if we're talking about beings with no hair on their heads, then how would he know to call the guy red-headed Irishman? So, again, you guys have to decide from that point on. I mean, I do believe that, this is not the first time that countries in this planet decide to use or manufacture these engines that look like flying saucers, rather, right? And of course, you guys already know that I make a distinction between flying saucer and spaceship. Spaceship is not from Earth. Flying saucer is from Earth. And that's why you guys hear me say that many times. Well, yeah, I didn't mean to. I just wanted to update you guys on the Betty and Barney story. I'm also looking into some other stories. One that kind of interested me was one. Well, actually, it's more than one. One that happened in 1989, November 30th, to Linda Napolitano. They said something about she was abducted from her home. Something about 3 aliens. They put their hands over her mouth. She claims to hear something, Nobi egg. 2 guards witnessed her being carried off from the window, from her apartment window. It was very high, of course. And these 2 UN Secretary General guards happened to see it happen. And when they actually thought it was a movie that was happening, but it actually happened right in front of their eyes. So I'm looking into that more, more into that story, because I don't know the whole scoop of it, but it does sound interesting how, you manage to have someone who's being abducted, and then you got people that actually looking at it while it's taking place. So I think that's very interesting to look at. Another one that occurred on August 8th of 1993, Kelly Cahill. Something about she was driving with her husband and their 3 kids to the, I can't pronounce the name there, it says something about foothills in Australia. They happened to apparently bump into these 7-foot tall creatures. Call them grays if you like, I guess, or maybe something different. And then they said something that she had a triangular scar on her navel. I mean, a lot of these abduction cases seem more like these entities are into the body. They're more into experimenting with the human body. For me, I have my own opinion about that because, like I said to you guys before, if these beings, right, been here many times, hundreds, thousands of times, don't you think that they would already figure out how we work? How biology works, our bodies, and after examining male and female bodies for hundreds and thousands of years, what is there more to figure out? That's the thing I don't get. But, these people that give us these stories of abduction cases, because they say they went through some of these stories, again, they say that, they were abducted and that's what happened. These beings are trying to operate on them. I'm just confused because, again, I mean, if humanity been here for hundreds and thousands of years, and I don't think there's any more reason why they should keep coming and, and examining us in those type of way. They should be able to already understand us, unless they not as we thought, like advanced as we really thinking that they are. Maybe they're not as farly advanced like that. I could be wrong, of course, but I'm just, theorizing here. Because for me, it's a little strange that every time we talk about abductions on this planet, it's always about they taking you, putting you in rooms and examining you, putting needles in you and, and testing your body. I mean, I kind of think that's kind of oldish, you know what I mean? But yeah, those are the stories that I'm really working on, guys, and I hope that you guys can, pretty much give me your opinions about what do you believe. Do you believe that this story is true, the Betty and Barney story? Give me your opinion on it. I'm looking forward to answering any questions that anyone might have. I'm a seeker just like all of you that are out there, and I'm trying to find out whether these people can just come out and just give us what we need to hear, the truth. We need to hear the truth, truth. We've been waiting for it for so long. I think it's time that we, have our governments let us know what's happening now. So again, you guys, if you like my video, please hit the like button. If you hate it, you can hit the dislike button. You can subscribe if you like to this video. Again, guys, I'm not perfect in making these videos. You have to bear with me, because again, if I have to create links, I know that I'm gonna have to figure that out because I'm kind of, I'm still figuring all that out. But if you guys want to know how to make your own little investigations into these stories, all you got to do is simply just look on the web, and you can find anything. Obviously, guys, that's all you have to do. I wish I had more of the sessions, because of the Betty and Barney story, of course, because, I mean, on YouTube, you only hear just one basic session, which is, of course, Barney's session. You only hear bits and pieces of Betty's session. But like I just mentioned to you guys, they were, they had various sessions. So their sessions lasted 6 months, guys. So I mean, come on, we're talking about a whole lot. So I think that it'd be nice if we were able to have all the sessions come to an understanding where we can be like, okay, now it makes sense. They both made a lot of sense. And then we can confirm whether that story was real or is just one of those, people that decided to just take us for a ride. And a good one, by the way, because of course it sounds very interesting. They were alone when the abduction took place, and it was just them two. No one actually saw them being abducted, like the story I just told you about. The lady Linda Napolitano. That's the story. I'll be looking into that too, because I think that's an interesting story to look at, because you really saw other people seeing as it took place. They witnessed as it took place. So I kind of think that was interesting, something to look at. So, okay, guys, well, I'll be closing this video. Again, if you like the video, give me a like. If you don't, give me a dislike. Subscribe if you like. Subscribe if you like. Just please bear with me. I'm still a beginner, still trying to understand all this stuff. And soon I might be able to do all this right. So when you see my videos, I'll be able to do, do everything accordingly. I was going to kind of do a live feed. But again, I'm still new to it. I got to figure out how that works too. Because that's something that I want to do. So I can have a direct communication with you guys. While you guys ask questions. And I can answer your questions. And again, just remember, guys, I'm on here just like any other person. I'm a seeker of truth. That's all I do. And as you guys see, I'm here just telling you what I believe, or, stories that I think, are credible or not. And that's basically it. You don't see me promoting any books. Promoting any lectures of any kind, because that's not what I'm on here for. I'm basically here just to express my opinion on these stories. And when you hear me say facts, it's because I looked them up, and basically I conclude by the information. I gather it together and make a decision whether it's real or that it's fiction. So with that, I'm going to leave you guys until the next video. Peace out.